for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. The 2016 NBA playoff mashup. Now, I had put something out on Facebook saying that I would talk to you all at a later time about the second round. But I decided not to because this brand of NBA basketball, as I've been saying for the longest, it's just atrocious. And as a purist, it is very, very hard to watch. At least the first two rounds anyway. Now, I got to say, in terms of pageantry, both the East and West conferences are starting to play out according to script, at least on paper. Because there are moments that we've seen even in these conference finals that have us or leave us scratching our heads. Why, for instance, didn't Draymond Green get suspended? But we'll talk about that a little later. Up first, let us talk about the Western Conference Finals. Listen here. What the Thunder are doing to the Warriors has nothing to do with the Warriors' 73-win regular season and whether or not if it's legit. Yes, on paper, 73 is more than 72, as was the Bulls, or in the case of the Bulls with Jordan. But you knew in that 72-win season for Chicago, 30, 40 games in, you knew the Bulls was going to win the title. Barring injury or something major, or some major catastrophe happening, you knew it. Because of the style of play. I'm not taking anything away from the Warriors. But let us first and foremost stop comparing the today BA to the yesterday. There is none. It was a better brand of basketball then. This stuff now is all pageantry for the most part. As I said to a colleague when he asked me how come my Mondays aren't all mundane after a Browns loss or Indians loss or a Cavs loss, or I said, listen, that was okay when I was 10. But at this stage in the game, I get up and I feed my kids, man. As much as I love sports, you have to keep it in perspective. So I see the game as an analyst. I watch for nuances, not as a fan. I'm not knocking fans and their fandom, but not as a fan. Not this game, not these sports, not nowadays. The NFL, the NHL, all of them. Ain't no substance. And in particular, especially in Cleveland, man, you're watching the game from a fan standpoint, most often than not, or more often than not, fandom leads to failure. I'm going to keep jumping off the cliff? Man, stop it. No. I watch the games for what they are. There are some moments that remind me of the throwback era, and there are some moments that remind me of the today BA. But what I like about what the Thunder are doing to the Warriors, Steph Curry and Draymond Green's struggles, and yeah, the kick was intentional, have nothing to do with the fact that they're not the Warriors still. They are. It's just that the Thunder right now are that much better. The Thunder remind me, I don't know how much of a martial arts buff you all are out there, but the Thunder remind me of the 5 Deadly Venoms. If you all remember the movie, the first 5 each had an individual skill. But there was a 6th Venom who had not only the skills of the other 5, but one of his own as well. The Thunder can play small ball, tall ball, all ball, no ball, yo ball. And they big. Steph is still Steph. But here's what's happening. It's not that the OKC defense is reminiscent of the Spurs. They just simply giving a better effort. And with the length, that could be a bad combination for anybody. Anybody. All they doing is putting more pressure on Steph out top. They remind me of Villanova this past season. They're going to extend you defensively on the perimeter and make it hard for you to get on the interior. Is Durant a lockdown defender? No. But better effort and at 6'11" out on the perimeter? Well, he a problem. And the killer part about it is not so much Durant and Westbrook. We already know what they bring to the table. We're talking about what's going on the inside. What Billy Donovan, head coach, 2 national championships, by the way, at Florida. Not necessarily saying that that's an NBA translatable, but it's starting to look like it, like coaching is coaching. And for all those who say that the regular season is for what the players do or the players responsible for the regular season, okay. And it's coaching that weighs the difference or makes the difference in the postseason. Right now, Billy Donovan is out coaching everybody else. If you're watching what I'm watching, or is it watching you? Nothing says that more than in Game 3, I believe, of this Thunder Warriors series, where there was a multitude of possessions from both squads, a bad shot selection, which is also an Achilles heel for the Today BA. Both teams missing and missing bad. And then the stretch got so long in duration, it almost puts you to sleep. Who calls the timeout? Not Steve Kerr, as he should have, being that he's already won a title, if you would. It was Billy Donovan. And from that moment on, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the game was within reach for Golden State. It was like 7 or 8, somewhere around. It was under 10. And from that moment, after that timeout, Durant made some sort of significant play, and then the Thunder blew the doors off the Warriors. Donovan's incorporation of Steven Adams on the interior is really what's making the difference. Look, you can try to take the big man out of today's game or take the big man out of the game all you want to. But if you don't take them painted lines or that paint area out with it, then it's still going to be, you still need a big man in order to win. You still need interior play. Some of you all watch this game and say that the right way to do it is the wrong way. Well, I'm telling you, the teams that win and what OKC is doing to the Warriors is the right way. Steven Adams is not a garbage man, meaning like he was under Scott Brooks, no offense, cleaning up Durant and Westbrook's misses and hopefully get a putback. No, not this go-round. Donovan said, no, you 7 foot. Get in there and use some footwork. And not to mention Enes Kanter, Serge Ibaka. The Thunder's front line is a problem for anybody. And then not to mention, they just took down the Spurs. Y'all better not sleep on these dudes, man. Y'all better not sleep on these dudes. Because you go small ball, which is how the Warriors won last year primarily, and they match you. And not only do they match you, the Thunder do, at the small ball, but they big. At this stage in the playoffs, the conference finals, and the finals, it's all about matchups. It's all about matchups. And if you look at the Thunder roster from top to bottom and sit it side by side with the Cavs, Warriors, and Raptors, who you picking? If common sense is such a thing out here in this world, who you picking? Logically. That's why I also asked the question, is Steve Kerr being exposed? Because there are times so far in this series where he's allowed or has made allowance for the Warriors to play through it, quote unquote, as did Field. But here's the deal, though. You got too many perimeter-oriented players to play through it. Man, you got to use a timeout, man. You got to use a timeout. So, yeah, I believe he's being exposed. And again, Russell Westbrook is second to none. Second to none. When he is in symphony with the entire unit. In particular, on offense. I'm going to say again, nobody expected the Thunder, not because they don't match up with everybody else or that they can't play with everybody else, because they got two of the top 5 players in the league too. But it was the brain lock moments in crucial moments of games. It's no accident that they were number 1 in the NBA in the regular season and blown fourth quarter leads with 14 after having a 10-point lead or more in every one of them going into the fourth. But again, I don't know what game y'all watching, but the one I'm watching, I have yet to see the Thunder do what they did in the regular season. They not blowing leads. They blowing people out. Which leads me to my next caveat. The Cavs and the Raptors. Listen, on paper, and I've said this before, I really don't like being redundant, but I have to, I see. The Cavs have a championship roster. But their style of play says otherwise. They look good against Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks. And them shots was falling, threes by the way, more so because of the lack of intelligent defensive rotations for Atlanta, especially, than was the Cavs' ability to consistently knock down them shots. Y'all still with me now? All right, well, there's more. The Cavs did against the Pistons and the Hawks what you're supposed to do. Nobody taking credit away from them for that. They smashed them in the mouth. That 10-0 postseason run record or whatever it was up until that point, they lost that one to the Raptors, it was legit. But, and he ain't going to like it, I'm going to use my son as an example of what the Cavs are, not what they appear to be. When he's in his backyard playing his little brothers and the little kids in the neighborhood, he stands out. He looks polished. Left hands, right hands, jump hooks, back, all of that. But when he goes up against competition equal to or better, and I'm filming him, I'll show him the film later. I'm asking him, where you at? Where's Waldo? You can't disappear. If what you doing is right, and that's the way it should be done, then it should work no matter who you playing. There's no excuse if the Cavs are And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just asking the question. If they are what everybody says they are, and everybody's all in, and what is it that you all into, then there's no way in the world this series should be tied. No way in the world. The Cavs have shot almost 70, 80-something three-point shots in 4 games combined. I ask this question. What happens when them shots are not falling? And the crazy part about it is the Raptors haven't done anything spectacular. They just came with more effort. How in the world, you number 1 seed in the East, if the East is supposed to be what the East is supposed to be, and you get out-rebounded by who is Biyombo? You got Biyombo'd. And I'm sorry. No, I'm not. The Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan outburst in these 2 games that done tied the series is not Kevin Love's fault. Now, that don't dismiss him from playing like crap and then stepping on the ref toe and act like, you know what I'm saying, he dropped a can of tomato soup on his toe or something, man. I mean, come on, man. That's softness. But that's separate from pointing the finger at him. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, that ain't Kevin Love's fault. He ain't the reason why them dudes is putting up 60 and 70 and combined. But as is the case with LeBron, everywhere he done been, when his teams don't do what they supposed to do or what they look like they supposed to do according to all the commercials, it's everybody else's fault. But whose fault is it that LeBron James didn't score in the last 5 minutes of the game? And I don't want to hear nuts garbage about he played 46 minutes. The other 3 or 4 games he was getting, and all the rest of the playoffs up to this point against the Raptors, if I'm not mistaken, it was much ado was being made about how much rest he was getting. So he should have had enough minutes in the reserve where them 46 minutes shouldn't have mattered all that much. And then again, I grew up in a time where I got to see the 85 Pistons and all of that. And I remember the game where Isaiah Thomas played and balled out on an ankle that looked like the size of a rhinoceros head. So I'm so tired of hearing about his minutes. That's what all these workouts for is. You also want to get one for the land. Let's go to work. All that work you've been putting in, deal with it. The Raptors are simply playing with more effort. That's why this series is tied. And again, if you the Cavs, and it's all about all this ball movement and all of this, you know what I'm saying, Tyronn, okay, then 3 for 22 from the three-point line. How many of them you got to miss before we see all this fantastic ball movement? I.e., like the Warriors and the Spurs. You can't win. No matter how bad folks want them to, you can't win no title. Even in the Today BA. When you pressured and you go back to or revert back to ISO ball. The blame game. Kevin Love, well, he didn't need to step up and all of that. Well, guess what? When Durant not playing well, Westbrook do more. When Scotty ain't playing well or suffering from another headache, Jordan do more. When, as a rookie, Kareem went down, Magic Johnson stepped in and played the 5. You do more. You know what they say about excuses? They like toilet paper. Everybody got some. Don't tell me Ain't no way in the world, like I said, the Cavs should be down or even in this series. Ain't no way. You can let a guy like Bismack Biyombo, who's basically a no-name, out-rebound you, your whole entire front line. Your entire front line? Dude grabbed 26 rebounds. "26 rebounds by one guy." That's unacceptable. If you're a championship caliber team, highly unacceptable. Your front line can't deal with one guy. And going back to this roster thing, if it is the Thunder and the Cavs, which I still, at this juncture, that's what I believe it'll be. It'll be the Thunder and the Cavs. What the Cavs going to do with Steven Adams, Ibaka, and Kantner? I ain't even mentioned Westbrook and Durant. Westbrook is the most dominant player in the league. His aggressiveness sometimes gets him in trouble. The only team that can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder this year is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I just don't see Billy Donovan allowing that to happen. And then you see a different air, so to speak, with Kevin Durant in particular. And not to mention Roberson. And here's the killer part. And this just came to mind, so to speak. Throw out all of the X's and O's and the strategies as to why this team might beat that team and so on and so forth. If for all of you superstitious folk out there, or all you karma folk, either way it go, whoever the Cavs face in the finals, whether it's the Warriors, and it still could be, although it's a long shot, or the Thunder, they both got a cat on their squad, man, that might, maybe not outwardly, but inwardly, want some get back. Andy, see what they did when it came to his loyalty, is over with the Warriors. And Dion Waiters, and loyalty ain't even the word in this case, with the Thunder. And now, I say inwardly, maybe for Andy, but outwardly and inwardly, Dion Waiters wants some get back. And while we own the Dion Waiters, this dude is passing the rock. Under Scott Brooks, this guy did not, it wasn't a shot he ain't like. I didn't even know he could pass. He want to be the man so bad that he at times makes mistakes more so than Westbrook. But here lately, under Donovan, he looks like an entirely different player. And I say the Thunder can beat anybody for all the aforementioned reasons on the court. But when it comes to the officiating, I still think they'll win it, because we all know that that's an element in here and throughout these entire playoffs that is just beyond suspect. They're not even hiding it no more. They're so obvious. They're using that to add intrigue to the game, which is bass backwards in any era to me. But the Thunder are so dynamic that I think even with the refereeing or the refs' shenanigans, they can overcome it. But with them, as is the case with all the rest of them, anytime a play don't go your way, stop spending half of the shot clock after the ball done changed possessions, slapping your arm trying to let the ref know that you got fouled. Basketball is basketball. When we was coming up, man, no, we didn't play in the NBA, but even still, we played when it was refs. And you don't, listen, if the ref don't make a call, all it takes is one. You say, oh, okay, now it's time to play to another level. Make him make a call. Stop begging for one. Put some out on Facebook a couple days ago. The league today is all about flagrants and flopping. We want to talk about records. What records? And you know the NBA don't give a darn. They are making public the official officiating report for the last 2-3 minutes of the game, I believe. Yeah, we made a mistake or whatever. So yeah, but you know, our bad. It's inconsequential. Why mention it if you're not gonna go back and change it or change a rule to be able to go back and change it? What's the point of letting people know? Because they think y'all listen. It's all about the dumb down. Come on now. Again, if y'all watching the same game I'm watching, let's go back to the Spurs and the Thunder. When Deion Waiters forearmed Ginobili, and Ginobili stepped out of bounds on the lady, kicked the lady in the first row, courtside rather, kicked her popcorn out of her hand. That whole sequence at the end of that game, whichever game it was just, oh my gosh, abstract. To use a word. The 73 wins by Golden State, it is not a fluke. I can't say that enough, man. OKC just putting down a good old-fashioned backside. It's called a barnyard, a blanket party, woodshed. I mean, come on. The Thunder would have been taken down. Took him down? I don't know. Y'all get back to me. Let me know if I said that right. They'd been took down the NBA's best defensive team in the Spurs and the NBA's best regular season historically win team ever. Man, come on, man. Y'all think they don't be done that and get to the finals, man, and think the Cavs are a problem? No. Especially when the Cavs are predictable. That's what folks really failing to realize. They are very, very predictable. When you put pressure on them, as is most folk, though, when pressure busts pipes. That's not just an expression. You know, especially even lived in Cleveland. You know what winters can be like here on these pipes. You know what I mean? Man, that's not a pretty sight, man. A Roto-Rooter van sitting in your driveway under 12 feet of snow. Because you live on the street where the plow trucks ain't coming down. Why? I don't even talk about that. But back to this Draymond Green thing. That, too, gives the NBA, in my estimation, a black eye. And for all of this national breakdown of whether he did it or didn't do it, man, it's overkill, man. All you got to do is see it. The discussion after the fact, after you've seen what you've seen, or seen what you saw what you've seen, or you synced it, the discussion afterwards is such that they want you to think that you ain't just see what you just saw. Man, I don't care if you play that play or replay that play back 10 times fast, 10 times slow, 10 times mediocre. That kick was a no-no to the grow. Po, Bo. You know, listen, man. Up until now, these playoffs have been atrocious. But I got to tell you, I've been able to actually sit down through an entire game on both sides. Now, again, as a purist, I'm going to always have something to say about the way it's being played. But despite the black eye the NBA done gave itself, it didn't also provide, at least so far, viewership longer than, or should I say, past the first quarter. Now, will these Thunder be in this position had Miles Plumlee and the Blazers had done better? Because I got to tell you, for a while I thought the Portland Trailblazers were a finesse team. But what they did, I mean, yeah, you know, the Clippers, you know, was the enigma and still the question mark, and I get all of that. But C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard, that's a nice backcourt. Even then, or even still, they don't back you down like they should or play with their back to the basket at times, you know, with Lillard especially. I can't recall ever a time seeing him do that. McCollum, you know, a few times. He needs to do it more. But they have a solid, they have a championship backcourt. They need the kind of front line. If they had a Steven Adams, they may have made more problems for folk this go around because they impressed me. You know, they play with a toughness and a resilience that I hadn't seen in the days, the seasons with LaMarcus Aldridge. They have skill. They just didn't have that toughness. And again, when I mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge, that's where you saw the emergence of Steven Adams. Man, this dude punished LaMarcus Aldridge. Punished him. And still punishing cats. That is, when I look at the Thunder and what they've done so far to the Warriors, when I'm looking to see how did this all take place or where this started at, I go right to Steven Adams and Billy Donovan's incorporation of Adams into the offense. Which on the other side, by the way, Valanciunas for the Raptors coming back to playing Game 5 is very, very interesting. Now, you can't dismiss that the Raptors don't play well in the postseason or the regular season on the road. I think they're 2-4 whatever. But this is the playoffs. And it's a reason why they play the games. At the end of the day, I'm going to sum it all up by saying it this way. Right now, the Cavs should be at home waiting on the winner of the Warriors Thunder. It's a telltale sign. Even though I still think they'll come out on top in this series, but it's a telltale sign going forward. When you're reverting back to iso ball, when you're being pressured. And on the defensive side, that's another thing folks fail to realize. You look at where the Cavs are ranked defensively this season, and you'll see it in these two games that they lost to the Raptors. Now, for all of the things that happen in the regular season, not everything translates to the playoffs. Because once the playoffs start, it is a new season. But one thing that does translate: rebounds, defense, effort. When you don't have those things, or when your three-point shot making ability overshadows or covers up then you're bound to get bit by it. Again, the Cavs shoot more threes than twos, and at the same time, from a percentage standpoint, they not too far away from having a better percentage from three than they do from the free throw line. I'm going to ask y'all again. What are y'all? Tell me, help me to see what you're seeing, because I know what I'm seeing. I can't wait for this potential matchup, because I've already played in my mind over and over again. Who gonna deal with Westbrook? Who gonna deal with Durant? Who gonna deal with Roberson? Who gonna deal with Dion? I'm mad waiters because I'm a six man, but I think I'm a starter. And don't forget Nazi Muhammad. Y'all know he's 77, but hey, I seen Hakeem do it at 52 now. Nick Collison, Randy Foy, Anthony Morrow. If everything is what everything is, and it is what it is, then that roster for the Thunder is real. So overall, at the end of the day, the NBA, to some degree, with these conference finals, have managed to re-energize professional basketball. In the end, this is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Cleveland Cavaliers' best chance to win a title. This is the best chance to win a title. Can they do it? Depending on how well they shoot in the three. Will they do it? Depending on whether or not Westbrook and Durant decide to play individual ball. Well, y'all, it's been fun, but we got to run. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. You can email us, theshopreport365@gmail.com. Remember, the next time you want to know what's really going on, come to the shop, man. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.